In a rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape, the ongoing trade tensions between the United States and China have entered a new phase under President Donald Trump's administration. With the U.S. implementing a fresh wave of tariffs, China is demonstrating a calculated response that reflects both its lessons learned from previous interactions with the Trump administration and its ambitions for global stature. In recent weeks, the U.S. has imposed a series of tariffs escalating to an additional 10% on Chinese goods, raising the stakes in a conflict that has persisted for years. Unlike America's neighboring allies Canada and Mexico, who swiftly sought dialogue with Trump following similar tariff announcements, China has adopted a more measured stance. Beijing's leadership, keenly aware of the shifting dynamics, has emphasized the importance of negotiations conducted on equal terms, signaling a departure from previous approaches that may have appeared conciliatory. As Sun Yun, director of the China program at the Stimson Center, remarked, as Washington escalates the tariff, Beijing doesn't see other options but to retaliate. This sentiment is echoed by Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who stated unequivocally, "If war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war, a trade war, or any other type of war, we're ready to fight till the end." Such rhetoric illustrates a determination to avoid the pitfalls of the past, where China was caught off guard in earlier rounds of trade disputes. The Chinese government has prepared a robust toolkit of countermeasures, including imposing tariffs on key U.S. agricultural imports and blacklisting American companies. This proactive posture is a reflection of China's desire to maintain a competitive edge while also signaling to the U.S. that it cannot impose its will unchallenged. Observers note that this time, China is not psychologically shocked by Trump's tactics, having anticipated this escalation and developed a strategic framework for response. Moreover, the economic landscape has shifted since the first trade war. China's economy, while experiencing a slowdown, continues to grow at nearly 5% annually, supported by robust investments in technology and diversification of trade partnerships. For instance, Beijing has increasingly turned to Brazil and Argentina for soybean imports, thereby reducing its reliance on U.S. agricultural products. This strategic maneuvering has allowed China to better absorb the impacts of U.S. tariffs compared to previous years. The contrast between China's approach and that of its North American neighbors highlights the unique challenges faced by Trump's administration. With over 80% of Mexico's exports and 75% of Canada's exports directed towards the U.S., both countries have been more willing to negotiate in hopes of mitigating the effects of Trump's tariffs. In contrast, as Daniel Russell from the Asia Society points out, Xi Jinping's China appears determined to resist any semblance of subservience in dealings with the U.S., positioning itself as a formidable global competitor. As the situation unfolds, the implications of these trade dynamics extend beyond economic metrics. They resonate with broader themes of national pride and international standing. China's leadership has made it clear that they view their economic rise as a testament to the Communist Party's success, and any perceived containment by the U.S. will be met with firm resistance. The future of U.S.-China relations will likely hinge on the ability of both nations to navigate this complex landscape. As Trump continues to pursue a hardline trade strategy, the world watches closely to see how China will adapt and respond. The lessons learned from past negotiations will undoubtedly shape the strategies employed by both sides, but the stakes are higher now than ever before, with the potential for significant global ramifications. The coming months will be critical in determining whether diplomatic channels can be re-established or if the trade war will escalate further, leading to a deeper rift between these two economic giants. As the world watches closely, China's annual legislative sessions, known as the Two Sessions, are unfolding against a backdrop of significant economic transformation and international scrutiny, particularly from the United States. In the wake of former President Donald Trump's impactful policies and rhetoric regarding China, the current landscape presents a complex picture of both opportunity and challenge for the nation. As discussions commence among China's political elite, the message from Beijing is clear: the rise of China will not be derailed regardless of external pressures. This year's sessions began with a focus on revitalizing the economy, which has shown signs of sluggishness in recent months. Premier Li Chang's work report highlighted the government's intention to stabilize economic growth while pushing for broader applications of artificial intelligence across various sectors. This strategic pivot aims to harness technology as a driver for economic resilience, reflecting a recognition that innovation will be central to China's future competitiveness. The guest list at President Xi Jinping's recent symposium with top business leaders provides further insight into which industries may be favored in the coming years. Executives from leading technology firms dominated the attendees, signaling a clear shift toward prioritizing sectors that align with China's ambitious goals in digital and artificial intelligence development. In stark contrast, representatives from the beleaguered real estate sector were conspicuously absent, highlighting the ongoing challenges faced by an industry that once stood as a pillar of the economy. As the two sessions progress, discussions will undoubtedly center around the government's commitment to fostering a robust private economy. However, analysts suggest that not all private sector players will benefit equally from government support. The dynamics between state-owned enterprises and private companies are shifting, with a new era of economic restructuring emphasizing the rise of tech-driven industries over traditional sectors. The changing of the guard between new and old industries has become the main thrust of China's economic restructuring, noted Mandy Zhua, reporter for the South China Morning Post. Compounding these challenges, recent economic data has raised alarms over potential deflationary pressures within the Chinese economy. Consumer inflation has turned negative, prompting concerns that this could signal broader economic woes. The government is now tasked with navigating these complexities while attempting to maintain consumer confidence and stimulate demand. As the legislative sessions unfold, how China addresses these pressing issues will be critical not only for its domestic agenda but also for its global standing in an increasingly competitive landscape. Looking ahead, the outcomes of the two sessions are poised to shape the trajectory of China's economic policy for the year. With a focus on technological innovation and a reassessment of industry priorities, the government's actions will reveal how it plans to balance growth with stability. As the world anticipates the responses and strategies that emerge from these discussions, the overarching theme remains clear: China's ascent on the global stage is an enduring narrative, one that will continue to evolve in response to both internal ambitions and external challenges. In recent weeks, a confluence of geopolitical tensions and economic policies has created a complex landscape, particularly concerning Taiwan and its defense strategy amidst increasing military spending by China and shifting U.S. alliances. The situation embodies a broader narrative of how traditional alliances are being recalibrated and how nations prepare for an uncertain future. At the forefront is China's announcement of a 7.2% increase in its military budget for 2025, bringing total defense spending to approximately $250 billion. This increase, justified by Defense Ministry spokesman Wu Qian, is reasonable and steady, is positioned as a necessary response to what he described as the most complex security environment facing the nation. Wu emphasized that the People's Liberation Army (PLA) is on a mission to evolve into a world-class military. Despite acknowledging the challenges ahead in meeting modernization goals by 2027, the centenary of the PLA's founding. The backdrop of this military escalation is the rising tensions surrounding Taiwan as well as the South China Sea. The implications of China's growing military might resonate deeply within Taiwan, where discussions around defense spending are intensifying. Elbridge Colby, a key defense policy advisor under President Donald Trump, recently indicated that Taiwan should aim for defense expenditures to reach at least 10% of its GDP. Such recommendations have sparked considerable debate, with critics questioning the feasibility of such an increase given Taiwan's economic constraints and the political landscape dominated by pro-China parties. As Taiwan navigates its defense strategy, the shifting dynamics of U.S. foreign policy under Trump pose significant challenges. Trump's administration has been characterized by a critical stance toward NATO and traditional allies, which has led to fears in Taipei that the U.S. might not provide the military support Taiwan has historically relied upon. Colby himself acknowledged the potential disaster for the U.S. should Taiwan fall under Chinese control, but the overall reliability of U.S. security guarantees appears to be in question. The financial implications of these geopolitical shifts are already being felt. Analysts like David Roche argue that the U.S. distancing itself from traditional alliances has opened the door for currencies like the Japanese yen to emerge as new safe havens in global finance, effectively displacing the U.S. dollar. Roche's commentary highlights that the repercussions of America's internal and external policy shifts could lead to de-dollarization efforts by nations wary of relying on an increasingly unpredictable U.S. economy. Moreover, the focus on military readiness extends beyond Taiwan. Countries in the global south. Observing the U.S.'s fluctuating commitment to its alliances may increasingly lean toward China for security and economic partnerships. This trend poses a long-term strategic challenge for the U.S. as it seeks to maintain its influence in a rapidly changing global order. The stakes are also illustrated by the escalating military budgets in Taiwan, where the government is being urged to ramp up defense spending significantly. However, the practicality of achieving such targets remains questionable. With Taiwan's GDP at around $793 billion, a shift to 10% defense spending would necessitate an extraordinary increase in military funding, an unlikely scenario given the current fiscal environment and public sentiment. In conclusion, as the world watches these developments unfold, the intersection of military preparedness, economic strategy, and international relations will continue to shape the future landscape. Taiwan's defense strategy, in particular, will require not just increased funding but also a reimagining of its relationship with the U.S. and its approach to regional security. The coming years are likely to reveal whether Taiwan can navigate these turbulent waters without losing its foothold in the face of an assertive China and a shifting U.S. foreign policy. In a world increasingly characterized by geopolitical tension and economic upheaval, China is asserting its role as a stabilizing force through a robust commitment to multilateralism and cooperative international relations. During a recent press conference, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi articulated the vision and direction of China's diplomatic efforts, emphasizing the importance of collaboration in addressing global challenges. This gathering, coinciding with China's annual two sessions, drew significant attention as it provided insights into the nation's foreign policy objectives for the coming year. Wang noted that over the past year, President Xi Jinping had taken a proactive approach to head-of-state diplomacy, fostering improved relations with various countries. Wang enthusiastically declared head-of-state diplomacy will write a new chapter of closer cooperation and shared success between China and the world. His remarks highlighted China's commitment to stability amid rising global uncertainties, particularly in the face of unilateralism and protectionism that are increasingly prevalent in international affairs. The press conference itself was a testament to the global interest in China's diplomatic stance, with reporters gathering well in advance of the event. Wang addressed a total of 23 questions covering a wide array of topics, including relations with the United States, China's position on current hot-button issues, and its vision for global governance. The consistent themes of stability, cooperation, and the importance of the global South were evident throughout his remarks. One of the key points raised by Wang revolved around the changing dynamics of international relations, particularly in light of U.S. China tensions. He criticized the U.S. for its two-faced approach, wherein it attempts to foster positive relations while simultaneously imposing tariffs and sanctions. The U.S. should not return good with evil, Wang stated, emphasizing that a responsible global power should seek to build trust rather than undermine it. This sentiment resonated with analysts who argue that the U.S. administration's actions have sown discord and instability, while China's diplomatic approach fosters a more collaborative and beneficial international order. Wang's comments also spotlighted the growing influence of the global South, which he mentioned 24 times during the conference. The collective rise of emerging markets and developing countries is reshaping the global landscape, prompting calls for greater representation and participation in global governance. With upcoming major summits hosted by China and its allies, Wang stressed the need for unity among these nations to safeguard their common interests. As China continues to expand its global influence, the role of technological innovation cannot be overlooked. The recent emergence of DeepSeek, a Chinese AI startup, has generated waves in the tech world by surpassing competitors like OpenAI's ChatGPT in app rankings. Launched in January 2025, DeepSeek's rapid ascent has drawn attention to China's growing prowess in artificial intelligence and the potential implications for global tech dynamics. Analysts are now questioning the sustainability of the U.S.'s dominance in the AI sector as China showcases its capability to innovate at a fraction of the cost. China's increasing focus on AI and robotics signifies a broader commitment to scientific and technological advancement. As evidenced by its leading position in patent applications and R&D personnel. This strategic direction aligns with the government's goals to enhance domestic innovation while sharing the benefits of its technological advancements with developing countries. Moreover, China's diplomatic narrative emphasizes the importance of strengthening the United Nations' role in global governance. Wan's advocacy for genuine multilateralism and respect for sovereign equality reflects China's aspiration to reshape the existing international order towards one that is more equitable and collaborative. In conclusion, China's recent diplomatic initiatives and technological advancements illustrate its desire to position itself as a leader in fostering global stability and cooperation. As the geopolitical landscape continues to evolve, the world will be watching closely to see how China navigates its relationships with both established powers like the United States and emerging economies in the global South. The coming years will likely reveal whether China's vision for a multipolar world can materialize, ultimately impacting the trajectory of international relations and global governance.